Hi, I'm Shelley Treacher from bristolcounselling.co.uk. Something that I've noticed a lot of my clients talking about this week is a fear of going back to work, going back to a hectic routine, not being able to set down boundaries and look after themselves, and feeling overwhelmed and the need to work really hard. So there's something about the work environment or going back into the work environment that triggers off this need to work really hard, where in lockdown people have learnt to look after themselves a little bit better and do nice things for themselves and relax more easily out of not being under obligation, I guess, and having time to think about what you need and what you want, and without too many people pressuring you. So it's my sense that you need an internal break. And I have some questions that might help you to identify how you give yourself a hard time, how you get triggered into working too hard, how you might be able to define your boundaries a bit better, but mostly how internally you can start to understand what's going on so that you can change things. So really, you need to start asking yourself what exactly is going on, what triggered you off, what makes you think that you need to work really hard. Maybe even what are you afraid of if you don't work really hard now and you don't change your routine? What would actually happen? What would you be left with? And how would it feel? And what are you working towards? What are you telling yourself? What happens if you don't do it? And why do you have to get this job list done? Why is there an endless list of things that you have to do? And why do you have to get them done? Really, what's going to happen if you don't get them done? And I think these things are worth staying with. And sometimes it's kind of a habit that forms or formed a long, long time ago that you've been repeating over and over again, has never really got questioned, so that's the point of questioning. But sometimes it's kind of a dissociation. So it's worth noticing how you feel when you're in that mode of hard work. It's a little bit like binge eating or being stuck on Facebook and scrolling, and you're sitting there and you're scrolling, or you're eating, or you're working really hard and you're thinking, I should stop. I told myself I would stop at 6 o'clock, or I told myself I would only eat this much, or I know this is not doing my brain any good being on Facebook for 2 hours, but you carry on. And I think there's a part of you that just dissociates because there's a part of you that needs something that you're not giving it. So this is where you get the opportunity to notice that and to start asking what it is that you actually really need. What are you trying to get from the scrolling or from the hard work or from the eating? You know, I've asked lots of questions about eating, but I think it can be the same thing. It's a lack of engagement in how you feel and what you really need. Because you're assuming possibly that there's something that you need that is too difficult to attain. But how would you even know that if you never really spend time doing it and you're always like zoning out? And we all know this is all really human, we all do it, and I'm sure a lot of people are doing it right now to cope with the isolation and the lack of usual structure. So it's a bit of a conflict, isn't it? Part of us wants this lockdown to be finished and part of us really doesn't. Part of us needs better well-being and boundaries. So this is how you do it. This is the way that you can start asking what's going on so that you can answer the question, so that you can meet your need in a different way. Yeah, so just spend some time in mindfulness, in presence, engaging with what you're actually doing. If there's something that you're afraid of happening in the future, what are you doing in the present that you could perhaps take control of a little bit differently? And as usual, if you want some help with that, I'm available. My individual practice is actually quite full right now, but I do have 2 groups coming up which I'd love to do some more introductory sessions for. So please get in touch with me if you want to work with your eating, or if you want to work with feeling lonely and isolated and wanting more relationship. Thank you. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.